So hello everybody, Ray, Georgie, Mike. So we are missing Anthea today, but it's wonderful. We are all here, and she will be back for sure. And then today we are planning on talking of the second part of dealing with ego, because we didn't have Ray and Georgie especially. So we would love to know their viewpoints about that. And Mike and I will hop in. So uh, I'm Sanjiva, a meditation teacher in Sri Lanka, and I'm close to the beach now. Now I found different ways of going on the beach and going for walks. I go strolling here and there now. So there are different parts and all, and then uh, it's a bit littered and it's kind of sad. Like it's like that. I and it's a bit quite narrow, and one part seems a bit of like a tough area, and the other part looks like uh, a good area. So yeah, but anyways, I was just like strolling around from left and right, like finding different ways and all. So I teach meditation, and uh, we are trying to help as much as possible people. And we started this discussion, and now it's like a wonderful chat with very interesting topics. And we decided, like, even if there are two people around of our group, we would love anybody to join this. And but even if there are two, we'll just keep it open so they can even have a friendly chat or anything they want to discuss, and for that time, because we all are enjoying this very much. So I'll hand it over to Ray, and even if there are personal things, if somebody doesn't like to be recorded, we will not record it at that specific time. You can request it later on if you want to share, regarding the topic or anything else. Uh, and we will be making a video of this and then putting so anybody can watch it afterwards also. So I'll hand it over to Ray to introduce, and then uh, go like Ray, Georgie, Mike, and like that. So then we'll hop into the topic, okay?
Mhm. Hi, everybody. Thank you for gathering again on a Friday evening, which I really look forward to these chats. They're always fun and interesting, and they're really cool to watch back because I watched you guys, the one that you did last week without me. I watched that today. It was highly entertaining. I thought it was wonderful. Yeah.
Mike, like.
So my name's Rae. I own a micro business, a tiny, which means that I am the business in far north Queensland, on the Atherton Tablelands, which Michael might fight me, but it's the most beautiful place in the world. And I have been a nurse most of my life, a registered nurse and a nurse educator. And I took up pottery as a work-life balance about 10 or 15 years ago and fell in love with clay. And now I'm very lucky to be able to play with clay full time. And because of my background, I make pottery objects for the funeral industry, because I'm very comfortable with the circle of life. So you can see a couple of urns and things in the background, urns, angels, whatever is what I make all day. And I have no alarm clock, and I'm extremely happy in my tiny, tiny business with me as the boss and everything else. Yeah, so that's kind of me at the minute. So your turn, Georgie.
Hi, yeah, nice to be here again. I do love our Friday night chats. And yeah, I'm Georgina Campbell. I'm at the moment. My business is very slow, but I'm getting it up and running. Um yeah, and
And you live
that's
down the road from me. Don't forget
and
that
I
bit.
did it. Oh, sorry. I live down the road from Rae, and it's actually quite pleasant here tonight. It's not so cold like last Friday night.
Mhm.
Hmm. And I hand it over to Michael.
Thanks, Georgie. Thanks, Ray. I won't actually argue with you, Ray. I think North Queensland is very underrated. Um, Having spent quite a bit of time there myself, so I can definitely see where you're coming from. It is a lovely part of the world. Uh, so I'm based in a town on the Tweed River in the lovely northern rivers of New South Wales. Um, and in my day job, I work primarily with students of English as a second language. But when I'm not in a vocational education setting, um, I spend a lot of time in my free time exploring these and other topics. So I really enjoy coming together on a Friday evening and talking about our topics, which tend to range from everything from interpersonal communication and human psychology to spirituality and self-actualization, uh, interpersonal relationships, and just about everything in between. Um, so I know that this is part two of a conversation that I had with, if memory serves me correctly, Anthea and Sanji. Um, but we definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity to get the benefit of what Ray and Georgie both had to say. So we thought we'd open it up and continue discussing the topic with them both here. Uh, Unfortunately, Anthea, as Sanji said, can't be with us today because she's on a well-deserved retreat slash break in Bali at the moment. Anthea, I hope all is going well, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that we're all sending our best wishes and good vibes in your general direction. Um, and without further ado, I will hand it back to Sanji, who I think might be going to sort of tell us a bit more about the topic and what we're going to discuss. So thanks, Sanji.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Yeah. So last week we discussed about dealing with ego, and we tried to bring up many aspects of it as per our knowledge or experience. So we try to like from the introduction and different aspects. Is it healthy? Is it good? Why do we need it? So and then the difficulties when dealing with it, and then we try to bring uh, psychological side or like and spiritual side regarding that, and how each one, because in a way we feel like we need it, and in a conceptual way we have to use it as identification. No, others, how are you going to say no? And but the thing is, like at first we never know about ourselves or I or my or me or anything like that, or not a name or anything like that, and that also can change. No, and then according to different circumstances, like for example, the same person doing different acts in a particular day. For example, like say they're in their house, no, they're the house owner or tenant or anything like that, no. So or like and if they are going and growing something, cultivating something, they can be a farmer at that moment. No, when they're on the street, they are a pedestrian or a driver or a passenger. When they are at the shop or someplace, they are a customer. No, if they're teaching like Mike does, like at school, they become a teacher. No? So so the same person at different, maybe they're a father or a mother, right? Or a son or a daughter, no? So it changes, no? Even within the same day, or the teacher can become a student even, no? If they're learning something, they can become a student, right? And then if they go to hospital, they can be the doctor or the patient. Even the doctor can be a patient, no? In the next moment, right? Or the nurse, no, anything like that. So likewise, they are even those roles change, but we need a self of identification, as well as like there are some positive aspects like self-confidence, no? And some dignity and all these kind of things, no, and value in life. So let us focus on the anything like what comes to your mind. And if we had missed out on something, please uh, enlighten us with those things. So I'll hand it over to our stars today, Rae and Georgie. So I'll hand it over to Rae, and then Georgie might, then okay.
Thank you, Sanji. Yeah, so because I listened to what you did last week, I noticed that you said that this week we talk about the practical side of managing your ego. You talked a lot about the negative sides of blowing your self-importance out of proportion and thinking you're on the right track when other people are advising you not to, and the pitfalls and da-di-da. But yeah, you wanted to talk about the practicals, which is really lucky because I don't give ego a lot of thought. I think of it in way different context to all the definitions, really. So I agree with Sanji when you're saying that it depends on your situation, what sort of self-identity that you have, whether you're a driver or a teacher or a student or whatever. And I'll take that a step further and put that same concept around personality as well, because people talk about, your star sign and your personality. And when I was a nurse and we'd have big seminars and, lecture days where they were teaching us, especially as a nurse educator, they'd make us do all these personality tests, and there were 4 different types, and you had to see which one you were and what your colleagues were to allow you to work more harmoniously together if you understood where the other one was coming from. And invariably, every personality test you give me, I score equally in all 4 boxes because I just do, because I'm a bit of an all-rounder, or you can say that, or I understand that your personality changes on every situation as well. Because when I'm at home with Loris, a little child, and I'm his mum, that is way different to when I'm the junior nurse educator in a meeting with the big bosses. The minute I put a nurse's uniform on, I'm a different person. So I've always thought it's a silly label, really. It's just such a fluctuating thing. I I'm not happy with the whole concept. I do understand from a spiritual perspective, it's a part of your mind, which is not actually part of who you really are as a spiritual being. So it's a construct to allow you to navigate the material world, so this dimension, or the earth plane, whatever you want to call it. So that's kind of how I understand it. And if I then talk about how to manage it, I manage it I've got a pretty nicely sorted out way of thinking about beliefs, right? So everything's beliefs with me, and most of them are false. And I truly think that our emotional system is set up to recognize a false belief. So if you get an emotional reaction to something, then you're believing something that's not true. So my latest example, only because this just happened and I had to work my normal way through this, I put some pottery into the can show. I do that every year. You're only allowed to put 2 pottery things in and 2 sculptural things. So I always put 4 entries in because that's your maximum. And I have never won the sculpture class. So I tried so hard this year to win the sculpture class. I made 3 really cute animals, farm animals. I started with a round ball and put a head on them, basically. They look amazing, and I'm not a sculptor, right? they look amazing. I thought, oh yeah, because they love cute animals. Judges love cute animals. And then I spent months working on a garden totem pole. So it had 6 balls all on top of each other, and every ball had a theme. The bottom one had sculpted hands like this, and then all these other sort of little pictures and squiggles. And then the next ball was, oh, it was cats. There were cats all over it. And the next one was tribal. So it had people, tribal things, and then fish, and then plants like botanical. And right on the top, I put a globe. It took me hours. So I had to cut out all the continents and stick it on this thing. Anyway, so I put that in the show. There's 2 things in the sculptural and in the pottery side, which I've won a fair bit, don't care. So I had 2 raku pots with owls on them, 2 different owls. So I put them in together and I called it 2 hoots. I thought that was clever. And then I had 3 small round urns that I'd raku-fied, and they're the most gorgeous colours, just the most beautiful metallic colours come out, and I put them in and I called them Phoenix Jewels. And then the whole week that they're in the show, because you have to leave them for a week and then you go back and pick them up, I thought, oh, I hope my totem pole wins. It looked really good. And when I got down there, guess what the totem pole got? Nothing. Nothing. Not even a, what do they call that? They give you a highly commended award if you don't win. Nothing. And my cute little animals, nothing. My Phoenix Jewel pots in the pottery, they got second, so that was pretty good. And then the 2 hoots won the whole show, the whole thing. They won the best 3-dimensional pots in the show. I was so disappointed because technically I sort of had won the sculptural, but not the way that I thought. And I thought, why am I so upset here? Yeah, and I said to my son, who's amazingly insightful, I said, Loris, why am I so upset about this? He said, Mum, you're competing against yourself, and the judge didn't agree with you. That's all it is. Yeah, and he's right. He's right. But that was all my own. I tortured myself. Like nobody did that to me. You put something in to be judged, you're asking for somebody else's point of view on your work, and everyone sees pottery so differently. Some people think pottery has to be a mug. Like if it's not a mug, that's not real pottery. Yeah. So I worked my way through it going, okay, what belief did I have around that? So I believed that my totem pole was the best thing there because it was the most intricately worked. Yeah, so I had to let that go because it's not true, is it? It's not. It's a subjective thing. Yeah. So that's the kind of way that I work. And I do that with everything. The other big part of my life where ego gets in the way of 99% of people that are in the game is that as well as a potter, I'm a share trader. I'm a full-time share trader, which means like 8 hours a month, the way I trade. And that's where most of my income comes from. But you will very rarely meet a share trader that doesn't, and I do this, I will tell you about my winning trades. Oh, I made 100% on that trade. And it only took me 9 months. This is a true story. Oh, no, good. But I won't tell you that I put twice that amount of money that I put on the winning trade on a losing trade, and I've still got it because I can't bear to sell it for 20% of what I paid for it. Yeah, so share traders have a really unhealthy ego situation going on, and you must override that if you want to be a successful trader. You cannot trade on your emotions. The whole market runs on emotions, fear and greed. You can't let yourself get into that. Yeah, so that's probably why I took it up, because I wanted to dissolve those concepts and do everything in the universe that I could think of that was really hard, like nursing, share trading, and pottery. 3 hardest things I reckon you could ever do. Yeah. And yeah, so ego, your competitiveness comes from ego, but if you really look into it, like it's based on things that aren't true, that don't really matter. It doesn't matter if I can run faster than Georgie, does it? Or, or beauty competitions are the worst. I think they're the most horrible things in the world. Yeah. So to me, ego is just it's a word that covers something that isn't true, that you have to work your way through dissolving that whole concept, because otherwise you'll run your life. Because I bet you Georgie's, I don't know, but I'll bet you Georgie's been through this. When we were young girls, 17, 18, we thought we were fat and ugly. That's what we thought. It ruined our lives. It ruined our confidence. It shaped the type of men which we were after, or boys when we were 18, because we just thought we weren't good enough. I tell you what, back at the photos, it's a way different story now. And we all did, was every Australian girl, because of the magazines we were reading and the role models on TV and stuff that were, whipped thin. It made us all think we weren't attractive enough. Yeah, so it's got a lot to answer for. It's something that we all need to work on to dismantle, I reckon. It's nice to have you need a self-image to function in society, but yeah, I tell you what I do with that too. So understanding that concept, I use that when I'm meeting people, especially when I'm meeting new people, or I've got a business transaction, or people come to buy and earn from me. I always make sure that I dress appropriately, yeah, really neatly and nicely, because they are judging me. So it doesn't matter to me that I get around in a dirty men's t-shirt, which is what I wear most days, and and a pair of $4 shoes from Big W, which is what I wear all day. It doesn't bother me, but other people will judge you because of their constructs around what people should look like and how they should act. So I'm very aware of that. So that's kind of playing the game, isn't it? But if you're aware of it, you can do it in a healthy way without damaging your own self-worth, etc. Yeah. So that's kind of where I come from on this topic. A bit different, I'm sure. Anyway, let's see what Georgie has to say.
Well, yeah, you've gave me some pointers there, Ray, because I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, from school, I think yeah, from school, like I think because I went to boarding school from grade 1, and I think I don't know if it was always being told or what, or but I didn't. But because I missed, coming off a cattle property, you got your family there, you got your dogs, your horses and everything. I mean, and then you go to a hostel or a boarding school and no animals or nothing. And I'd say that I would really fret. All I wanted to do was go home. So I didn't learn anything. So therefore, in the early days, I didn't do, quite well on my report cards. So then I would, it sort of stems from there that you think, I don't know, just a few, I can't I do not remember the exact words, but you just start to think that well, I'm no good at that. Well, I'm no good at this. And I think, I always had that all through my life until, it's only in the last probably couple of years, that I've really I now know, like, I've come to manage it, like accept yourself, including your strengths and your weaknesses. Um and yeah, speak kindly to yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. I've learnt that one as well, Um and what you're telling yourself, don't put yourself down. Um yeah, like I think and it's very important that you build your own confidence, or be around people. I say this all the time: be around people and be in the situation to build your confidence by keeping the promises to yourself. Um, yeah. Um, and just I suppose, be humble, because we everyone's got something to teach us. Um, we're getting new things taught to us every day, and it doesn't matter how old you are. And yeah, I know I have the last couple of years, and don't compare ourselves to anyone else. I suppose, and be open to when someone when feedbacks, when someone feeds back without, they're not taking a personal attack on you as well. And another thing, like, probably, is admit your mistakes and learn from them. Um, and practice gratitude every day as well. And another one, I don't know, I'm just thinking, you set healthy boundaries and say no when needed. Um, treat others with kindness and respect. Like, and I've really learnt, if someone's not having a good day, like you're uptown and whatever, driving or whatever, like, I nearly got collected coming back from Melinda the other day, and I'm thinking, what was going on in their head? Like, you there and you're swearing and that, but really, what's happening in their life that they did that, you know? Um, and I've focused on growing rather than proving yourself. I find, I was always trying. I know I was always, well, not, yeah, I was always trying to prove myself wrong, or prove myself wrong, prove myself right. I think you've got to stop. You focus on growing and moving on, and not so much on proving yourself, and make sure that you're growing. Um, and remember that your values come from who you are, not what other people think of you. Yeah. A healthy saying. This is what I have on my thing, is that I am enough. I can learn and improve. I don't need to be better than anyone else to have value. Yeah. That's just on my personal thing that I've sort of gone through today on, and a part of developing a healthy ego is learning to believe that your worth isn't determined by setbacks, criticism, or whether everyone supports you. It can be confident, kind, and humble at the same time. And I sort of had a big ego, like, no, not my family, and no one supports me, rah rah rah. But yeah, and that's what I've learned in the last day or so. You can be confident, kind, and humble at the same time, then, yeah. But I don't know if that's, but that's just my personal thing on it. I don't know if that's, yeah. And I'll hand it over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Ray and Georgie. Yeah, I think you have raised some really good practical um, advice in relation to dealing with the ego. One thing that sort of dovetails a bit with what you've said, Georgie, that I found helpful, because in the past, and I still do to a degree, fall into the trap of wanting, something to be perfect or yielding to perfectionist tendencies. Um, and I'm trying as I'm getting older to sort of focus on progress rather than perfection. So the idea that I can just make small incremental changes in the right direction and that I don't have to be, or a situation doesn't have to be perfect. Um, so that's definitely a skill that I'm learning, and as part and parcel of that, um, I've learnt a lot about the importance of trying to just accept yourself. And I think that's a pretty important step that almost everyone needs to take. I suppose for some people it comes rather naturally, but um, often I find you've got to accept yourself or value yourself and your contribution before you can expect anybody else to. Um, and I I I agree with you, Rae, that people, unfortunately, whether they should or shouldn't, people do judge a book by its cover at times. Uh, it's something I have to be very conscious of, like in a work environment, that people will sum you up in the first, 30 seconds, or definitely the first 5 minutes, and they will come away with an impression of you. So, um, some of it is about learning how to navigate those sort of social dynamics and sort of play those games in a way that is healthy and doesn't harm you or the other person. Um, and just being, I suppose, having a realistic view or understanding of human nature is probably pretty important too. That tendency that we all have to um, at times rush to judgment. I know I did that. Um, and I even, do that in relation to my own actions. Um, so I think it's a good idea, as you said, Georgie, to try and be kind to yourself. Um, and I I like I like the idea of, treating yourself like somebody you're responsible for caring for, or treating yourself as as you would a friend, um, is often gives me a different perspective on things, and I find that um, anything that I can do when I'm upset to maybe get myself, take the blinkers off and get myself out of that perspective and try and see things from a different point of view, I often find that helpful. Um, that's where I find things like journaling helpful, because sometimes if I can do that and look at it on paper, maybe the following day or later on, I can see the situation potentially from maybe a slightly more objective point of view. Um, so I think that aspect of playing with perspective is helpful. And some of the time, one of the most helpful things that I've found is just to ask somebody whom I trust for their point of view. What do you think? This is what happened. Uh, but to ask, a family member or a friend, how do you see this? Do you, and sometimes even just that process of talking it out loud, A, helps me to process my thoughts, but it also gives me the benefit of that other person's perspective. So, um, Sanji, what do you think in terms of dealing with the ego and how we can sort of practically um yeah, deal with those challenges in life?
So thank you, Mike, and thank you, Ray, Georgie, for sharing wonderful facts. So what I feel is like from what you all said, it's a very thin line. The way the reactions and then how to identify with those things, it's a very thin line and it can vary from time to time. Because, for example, like when we are in our most difficult moments, say in illness or pain or something, like how does the ego come, no? And how we embrace it in a big way, you know? Or if you're in a difficult, if somebody's coming scolding or you're driving on the road or they are like some road rage or something. And those quick moments, like how we react, no? So, and now we are talking at a time like in our mature ages, but back in the day, like we just like soloed it as kind of, no? Like, and what Ray said was so true. It's this beauty pageant, especially you see these little children put into that stage. That's horrible, right? And I remember like even in school, like all this competition with not just like the children, they make, and the parents make it worse, no? That kid is better than you. Or like, why can you do no, you better than, or why can you not do like that person? Then I was so mad. I said, you bring him and keep him here. I'll go to their house. No, and then, no, like, but it's still like it hits you, no, like, and then later. You get in your mind and you want to perform, and then it seems still not enough. But like you all mentioned, like sometimes we need the egoistic part. No, otherwise, how can we like face things or be strong? No, and sometimes like now we understand. Like before, we thought the entire world was like kind of like looking at us. No, but now we know it's not the case, right? And there's like we can dance to all those tunes, or like we can say whatever, and then like we can be live as ourselves, no? Or there are people like they don't care what at all, no, not at all, no. But it can be in a positive way as well as in a negative. What we are, if they are living in a bad situation, and then they still think it's okay, or I don't care, no. But in some aspects, like when you see it, like we cannot dance to all the tunes, right? Because each person, like Ray said, even if you go to a shop, they just see from head to feet, and then the way they react, their uh, body language, all changes. No, they you they scan, like kind of like scan you, and then they assess, oh, maybe this person has money or not, or this profession or something. So we are living in a society as such also. So in a way, we have to cater for that. Like I say, when you're doing something, like doing, like you said, a profession, uh, or like when somebody comes to meet you as such, no. So it changes, no, and we want to be ourselves also, right? So what I feel is like it's like a cover or like a wrapper. But the worst things, we don't need to wrap ourselves with the negatives. No, I'm a horrible person, bad person, I'm a sad person. No, that also comes, right, with the ego. Uh, it can come, no, like so we need this for existence wise, or like interactions, or in basic terms, it's called conceptual reality. But in the inner core, I think like, oh, I'd like to ask your opinions and ideas also. Yeah? I'll get to that. So, but in a deeper sense, at least within us, if we can let go of the ego part within us, huh? not in the interactions or anything like that. I totally agree with asking other people, like Mike said, and like Georgie said, like we should be kind towards ourselves and all the facts we brought, like things Rae said. So, but but means like inside ourselves, I mean like if we learn to lose the grip on that, uh, then we can like it will come to our outside interactions also, but still we will have that kind of boundaries or uh, the safety measures and all of the requirements that are need. So what I would like to ask you all is like when people say I feel I'm losing myself, eh? Or some people say, oh, you're losing yourself. And sometimes it can turn into suicide also, right? It can switch into that. So what are your thoughts and ideas about that? Like losing, because in spirituality, they say more you let go, the better, no? Spirituality, some aspects, no, they say. But some people are afraid. Then, and that seems like the place they can hold on when everything is sliding away, no? For example, if a person gets drunk for some reason, they try to keep their senses, no, and they feel like they are losing themselves, no. Uh, some people really like to do that, but uh, when you try it out for the first time or something, you're like, what is happening to me, no? Uh, Back in the day, we used to also tried it, and then like everything just went out of as if you lost the steering of the car or something, no? And then the car is like going wrong and like it's like everywhere it wants. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I had to get back to the steering and try get it on the road, no? So uh, uh, how can we relate to this, and uh, what are the extents, or like and then how can we like implement the real thing? Because in a dream also we can lose ourselves, right? And then we fall into like nightmares and all. We become afraid. Then when we suddenly wake up, we thank goodness, no? Like yeah, okay, no. So how do we relate to these kind of things? Ray, I'll hand it to you, then George, Mike, please feel free to
Yeah, okay.
join.
So if one of my friends or I came across someone that was saying those words, I'm losing myself, um, the number one rule is I can see a solution. We'll all of us would be able to work out exactly what they need to do, right? But you must let them come to it. You can't just tell them. So so you need to connect with that person, and that might take time for them to tell you the story. You ask questions and go, what's making you feel like that? Oh, you're a mother with 7 children and a useless husband, and you're holding the whole family together, and you work full time. Really? Okay. Well, so you just, yeah. And you always speak to their higher self. So you imagine them as their real self, like a golden ball of angel light, because that's, what's inside them. Even if they're rough, they're cranky, they're swearing, they're uncomfortable to be around, you don't speak to that outside crap. You speak to their pure self. And I don't know, it works. It connects to them. I've had terrible patients in the hospital, really difficult to get on with. I remember there was a guy who was coming down off alcohol and God knows what else, who was really not in the deepest throes of withdrawals, but still cranky and uncomfortable in his own body. He was uncomfortable and he was difficult. I had this massive boil as big as a golf ball on his arm here, and the poor baby doctor wanted to lance it. So the doctor's boss had said, cut that, drain all the goop out of that. And this bloke wouldn't let him near him. No, go away. You're not touching me. It was just obnoxious. And I was a baby nurse. I don't know, did this by instinct. just talk to him as if he was my favorite little baby brother. And just, I didn't sook him. I didn't talk to him like he was a baby. And he did some awful things, like I remember he had blood on his finger or something. He wiped it on the sheet, and I said, that's okay. I don't have to wash them. You can wipe it on as many sheets as you like. And just was firm, but spoke to his true common sense self. And we got that boil, that awful thing lanced, and he sat there quietly through the whole thing and was fine. And the doctor said to me later, do you know him? And I went, no, I've never met him in my life before. But that's my secret weapon. You talk to the purest person. You don't judge them at all, because we don't know what has brought them to, this awful period in their life where we're feeling lost or suicidal or just completely obnoxious, which lots and lots of patients I've come across have been. But yeah, so that works really well. I've just recently joined a photography group, and it turns out a few of us went to school together. I barely remember them. Anyway, one girl took a dislike to me, and it was, I could feel it. I thought, oh, okay. So yeah, anyway, and I thought, I walked away from that meeting, thought, how am I going to handle this? Because I'm uncomfortable with her. She obviously doesn't like me. How am I going to get out of it? And you know what the answer just came to me? Just love her through it. Just love her through it. So I did the same thing. I just treated her as like she was treating me like a princess, which she wasn't. And guess what? 3 or 4 meetings later, she does treat me like a princess, and she hugs me now, and she pats me, and it's like, yeah, love is the answer. Love is the answer. Oh, here's another hot tip. When they're really, really lost, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to do. And if I can find something physical, I'll say, here's a magic wand. What would you do with it? To try and get them to work out themselves. And the answer might be leave their husband, or get help, get a house cleaner, or it'll let it come from them, must come from them. Because if you say, oh, just get a house cleaner, they won't hear you. They won't hear you at all. Sometimes a few weeks later, they will come and say, oh, you know what, I just thought I should get a house cleaner. And you go, I told you that 6 weeks ago. So you've got to sort of allow it to come from them. The answers must come from them. You can't, like when your mother says, you should put new shoes on, don't wear that out. That doesn't work, does it? It makes you feel like crap, and then you do the opposite. Yeah, so magic wand is really good. Here you go. What would you do? Wave it. What would you do? It's amazing what people come up with. And if they're still really lost, then you just go, okay, I've said this before, just say once a day you must do something for yourself, only for you. And it might be brush your teeth with your other hand, or walk backwards to the mailbox. That was how I learnt this trick. Go get the mail, but walk backwards there. But just something that you've decided to do just for you. And it's like when you want to clean up a cluttered space and you can't start, it's such a mess. It's such a mess. Where do I start? You say, go just do one drawer. Clean one drawer today. That's all you have to do. And then they clean one drawer. It feels amazing. And the next minute, they're throwing out things, and the whole wardrobe's reorganized. And yeah, so baby steps. You've got to let a little bit of light in there. So empowering the person in one word, like 2 words, is what you're trying to do with people who are lost. Making them realize they still have power over their own lives. Yeah. Okay. What do you reckon, George?
Yes, yes. I was just thinking, going through my head, with all that. Yeah, I agree all to you. I've done it myself with a few people. Like when I had one friend really bad when I was in and I used to talk to her to 5 and 6 hours a day on the phone because she had a whole 36 years worth. And yeah, and in the end, with her and with things, you do have to go through a process. And I think, again, you've got to get that trustworthy person that you can trust and just talk and talk and talk if you can do it that way. But what Rae said, yeah, with the way that Rae said, it would be easier. But I didn't know. But yeah, with myself, it's all about me. No. With myself, yeah, I have come from a really low point, and yeah, I have written things down. You know, and I've learnt, you know, you got to do your strengths and your weakness, and you know, with being in pain, you know, everyone used to say if you don't move it, you'll lose it, which that is true, I believe. Because yeah, there was a time there that I gave up and I'm like, I'm not moving, you know, and I did start, you know, you lose your muscle, like not eating, again, not eating properly, not setting boundaries, not that everyday stuff that we do. Um, I did have a note here. Like, yeah, just getting outside in nature, what I did. Um, yeah, having that someone to trust, eating regular meals, eating good meals, eating nutrition. Um, At the moment, I find with myself what's getting me really good is that I have gone on minerals, ocean trace minerals. I've been taking those every day, and I can feel like a difference as well. Like, because some of the food that we eat is depleted now. So yeah, like the fruit and veggies that you buy and everything. So ocean minerals, I find is very good. Um, yeah, and I think, you know, just talking through with someone on how you feel. I know, I know with me that works, and I've done it for a couple of people. I used to find it very exhausting before I learnt, you know, to not take it on myself, which I used to, you know, when something happened dramatic with someone around me, I would take it on myself. Whereas now I have learnt to listen, and if I can, you know, to just listen. And if I can give advice and I say, you know, this is what I have done, it may not work for you, and I just go from there. Like when, you know, when someone's suicidal or someone's having a bad day, or yeah, or talks to me, yeah. Or just elderly people that are lonely, talking as well. Yeah. I think I don't I think that's about all I can say on that. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Georgie, and thanks, Rae. Some really good advice, I think, from the both of you, grounded in personal experience. Yeah, in terms of that's where I've found the idea of um, treating myself like someone I'm responsible for helping has been helpful, because at times I then say, and so it can be really quite inane, banal things, but it does, it's a prompt that I find helpful when it comes to my own self-care. And to give a practical example, in the last week and a half-ish, I've got back to going to the pool for exercise in at least a couple of times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm trying to take a longer term view in terms of what's likely to be helpful for me. And I sometimes ask myself, if I were giving this advice to somebody else who was in a situation similar to my own, what would I advise them to do? If I had an identical twin or something like that, what would I suggest they do in the circumstances? And generally, the answer is something like, yes, it is a good idea to go to the pool, like you said you were going to do and told everyone you were going to do, because in the longer term, the physical benefits will outweigh the momentary inconvenience. And maybe some of the less pleasant aspects of getting into a pool on a cold morning. So I do find that helpful. I think the magic wand technique or idea is a good one, Rae. And I agree with you, Georgie, that part of good self-care is, am I eating right? Am I sleeping okay? Do I have social support in place? And yeah, am I doing the things that are within my control? Even if they're just little things, little micro or baby steps, as you said, Rae, um, and just sort of taking it one step at a time and saying, all right, I'm not going to worry about next week or next month. I'm just going to make sure that I go to the pool today and physically get in there and do what I need to do. And then I'll tackle tomorrow when it arrives. One thing, and this is where I'd be very keen to get your input, Sanji, is I know I've been in situations in the past where I have felt that the situation has been pretty hopeless and that it can't change. As I've got older, um, I've got better at acknowledging that things tend to change pretty much all the time. They don't stay fixed. And they they change, they evolve, people come and go, jobs come and go, relationships come and go, and things are in a state of flux a lot of the time. And that's one of the things that at times um, can be very challenging for me. The fact that, oh, everything's changing and I don't want this to change and this isn't welcome. Um, but Sanji, I was wondering whether you could tell us a bit about change and impermanence and how that helps people to navigate their way through life's challenges.
Thank you, Mike, for handing over the mic. And, yeah. It's an important thing, and I think you are working with the inner core as such, and the reality of all, no, like existence or all, like all universe, all beings, everything that comes under that category, like what Michael mentioned now, no? So I just feel like we'll I'll jump into that, come into that, Mike. So regarding the other topic or other things we were talking, uh, I just feel we need to have an inner core of things like who we really are. But we have to like check in and then see, reason it out and ask good friends and all this, discuss all the time, no, and see how it is, no. The worst thing, like you all said, like if you believed in something and we have made an identity with regarding that, and when it crumbles, oh, that's kind of like the worst of things, no? Or like I was so, or even if it's a person, no, like this person is my idol, or like my superhero, or anybody, no, like then suddenly like you have so much build up on that, and then you made like, oh, this is the person I inspire about. Uh, when it's for any kind of ideology or pattern or something like that, so when it crumbles, that's like really like kind of like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Oh, you make some decision and then you try to do it for some good reason, but then it sometimes horribly turns upside down, and then like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? No, like, oh, uh, and then sometimes you are put in a place like you have to make a decision, and then there's a whole bunch of people you feel like they are watching you, and then you have to do something and you have to take charge, and then the outcome can be anything, no, that can come out of it, and then they kind of bunch up and criticize you, no, like so those things are like really tough situations. So but it's life itself, no? It's like Mike said, like if we have a good pure intention of doing things, yeah, and we like do some research about it and ask other people also and get the feedback from that, and then for the best of goodness, no, uh, like we are treating ourselves uh, to another, no. So uh, in a way, the ego factor sometimes it's very difficult. No, you are stuck up with some particular ideology or something like that. Then it's like you swallowed a bamboo or something, no, and it's really stuck. Uh, then it's not flexible or anything like that. If it gets built up on that, so it's always good to like talk to people, or but still we have a righteous ideology or idea or pattern within us. The outward things we interact and keep it. Huh? It's like we have this fence, but we know it's not very strong, no? But we fix it again and again because we don't want these animals coming and eating our crops or plants or anything. But within the fence, there's a whole nice life system, no? The house or the plants and the animals or pets and all this or family members. There's a whole community, no? So we don't want to build massive walls or like make it like a prison, but we make this fragile fence-like thing just to keep things intact, and then we build the inner core. But that also we have to like uh, how to say reflect upon it and all. And when we come to things like what Mike mentioned, like the impermanence factor, so then it goes way deeper. Like if we can feed something like that, it's not a particular religious thing because days change, no, seconds change, minutes change, hours change, days, weeks, months, years, no. Yeah. So then the time goes so fast, and all of our actions, no, uh, they they change, you know, from the thinking patterns. Even the mind changes so fast. When you sit for meditation and all, we can clearly see, you know, like how much thoughts come, right? Even the meditation object, it is also a thought or thought streams, right? And that also change. If you connect it with the breath, like breath is one of the biggest sources we are alive. So if the breath is not there or we are dead, there won't be no more thoughts, right? Uh, so if the breath is also we cannot fill in and we cannot keep the breath we take for a long time, no? And if the exhale goes away and doesn't come back, then also we are in trouble, right? Uh, so so then what to think all the rest that happens afterwards? from the mind, the bodily functions, digestions, all that thing, they also should change, right? That's why we drink water so much, or we eat food again and again. We have to do things again and again and again. No? Even the actions, no? So even to counter pain, or like even if we keep our body in a particular posture, after some time we feel some kind of pain, then we have to change the posture. Then that same posture can bring pain again. Then the irony is like sometimes it comes back to the same posture which we tried to change in the beginning. Say we were sitting for a long time and they think, "Oh, like it's hurting and all. It's like a bother. Now I have to stand up." Then when we stand up, we think like, "Oh, my legs are still hurting. Maybe I walk a bit." And then when you walk, "Oh, I'm so tired. I want to sit again." It's kind of like funny because the same patterns like come in like a circle, right? So in a way, if we understand the impermanence or the changing factors, it will be a great insight or a wisdom factor. We can face all these things. More we dive deep into that, the changing factors, the acceptance, the understandings, and not only that, that will bring a very strong inner form of reality that sinks into you very deep. So we can have this outer thing, but we know that is not forever. It can change from moment to moment, like from action to action. No, like I'm moving my hand, then my action, I'm the person who's walking now, or talking, or anything like that. But we know that is temporary. But inner core, if we can dive deep in and know this every moment, the physicality, mentality, all these things change so rapidly. We cannot even say. So in that ultimate reality, we cannot identify as a person or a thing or anything like that. But that doesn't make us lost, but it takes us to our true essence, like taking to our real home, or the realities of things. And this identification or the thing we try to bring up from outside, uh, sometimes it can be negative also. Not always it's not positive, no? So we can realize that it is very subtle, it can change. That's why we can learn from our mistakes. We can correct ourselves. And then it will be very easy to accept also. So more deeper, so person gradually goes into those stages. So they build the concentration, make the mind very powerful. You call it like it's like a blade, no? The concentration is like the strength of the blade. The mindfulness is like the sharp edge of the blade. Then you can sink in, you can focus your mind and actually witness the small kind of like energy particles. And then the ideology we had as a person actually changes. We don't bring a perception or anything like that, and we don't purposefully change it through a visualization. That reality just comes up. Say we have all our screens on our devices, but these are pixels, no? Then, or if it just became pixels, all our identifications or recognitions will change. It will be just specks and dots, maybe, right? It will change, no? But when we find the image of it and then we give it a name and all, the recognitions come and we can put so many things into that. But like Ray said, like that is the best way of like I think looking into people. We just keep the good inside us, but we have to be careful not to be like how to say it, trampled and crushed also, no? We have to know how to uh, how to say uh, go through those kind of things also. But being good means like you can be kind and firm also, no? Uh, but within that you can look at each individual in a very positive way, in a very good way. So I think even if we can go deeper and deeper, so it is said like even the enlightened beings, they didn't go beyond the conceptual vocabulary. Mean conceptual vocabulary, they say like such and such person came, or regarding their name, and they didn't go beyond, but in their inner core, they knew the reality of things. It's like it's a collection of physical energy and mental energy, or even deeper. So they knew it, and they knew like within themselves, they had realized that, and they were living that already. But they were talking just like normal people. But in a way, we had to know like the language we have is always self-based, and it's very narrow. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So it got stuck here. Then, yeah. And then, yeah, like if we can know, because it's right in front of our vicinity, but we will have to realize it within us. Then that projection will go outward. Then it's like much more easy also. We even face harsh conditions. And then if we can be more open, more humble, but still keep that kind of, I don't want to call it a wall even, but there is like a layer, no? There's a layer for the conceptual level. But we know it's fragile, it's not forever. But there is a kind of layer, but it's see-through and all. But in the inner core, we make a much more way of seeing in a very beautiful way. Okay, in a way, it's like a tortoise or a snail or something, no? They have this shell, but inner they are soft, right? But for protection, and when something happens, they just go into the shell, no? Not in a. Likewise, we keep the inner core safe, but make it more and more refined. So things like impermanence, then if somebody realize impermanence, then they will see the how to say the difficulties oneself or one like the all beings actually face. Then they will have more compassion and all that things. Actually, it's called suffering, no? They'll witness the suffering. Suffering means like the long-term process. There are some momentary ones also. Then they will understand if this is as such and if this is not forever, then how can there be a permanent self? That's why like the non-self factualization came about. But more we dissolve, actually, we can have more unconditional, no? And more realistic, more sincere, and more happiness also, no? More peace. Okay, then I'll hand it over to Rae, and maybe we wrap it up or as conclusion. So if you like to, if you like to continue, we can continue. So any ideas or anything like that, and please bring up more points like how people can, or how you all counter ego, how to balance it, or like how people should react in harsh or difficult conditions, or even if one we are facing, pain or difficulties or problems.
I haven't got a lot to add. I remembered why that bloke had that golf ball size abscess on his arm, if you're interested.
Sure.
Will I tell you?
Yeah.
We used to have sleeping tablets that were shaped like a little football, and they were full of a liquid, and he sucked the liquid out of the sleeping tablet and injected it into his arm for a high. So he was a real character, that bloke. The other thing that I had just noted, because Georgie is always talking about boundaries, and I totally agree with her. But one of my best friends shocked me a little bit the other day. I was having coffee with her. I hadn't seen her for a while. And she was saying that her mother had passed away, and that in the end, in the last sort of 10 years of her mother's life, her mother got a bit cranky, which lots of old people do. And she was particularly unkind to my friend, but as my friend nursed her partner and he crossed over. So her partner died, and her mum was just not very sympathetic at all. And when her mum died, my friend wouldn't have a bar of anything that she'd been left in the will. Like, there are boundaries and there are boundaries. She threw in the bin the jewelry that her mother had left her. Yeah, nothing. She wouldn't take anything. Not a single. Didn't want to know about it, and just called her a really bad name, which shocked me as well. Thought, wow, like there's boundaries and there's boundaries. Like, you have to take into account people's mental state as they get older, I guess. Yeah, so it really bothered me a bit, that one. So yeah, the boundaries are good, but you can overdo it, I think, a little bit. You know, maybe that's none of my business, because my friend was quite happy with it, with how she reacted to everything. Maybe that's just me. I'll have to think about that a bit more. Yeah. So I don't have a lot to add. I've said the bits that I need to say. Yeah, ego is something that needs to be dissolved as much as you can, but keep intact the bits you need to play the game. Yeah, is my best advice, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to thank Michael and Georgie too for their insights. Just wonderful. You're so cool, you guys. And Sanjva, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He, of course, is just
And
a
how,
fountain of
Rae,
wisdom,
sorry, yeah?
aren't you?
Like,
Yeah.
how do you find the balance?
How do you find the balance? Isn't that a good question?
How do you find it, Rae?
How do I probably need to be further along with my boundaries towards my friend, because I make a lot of allowances, especially with my parents who are 88 and 86 and quite cranky a lot of the time. Yeah, it has to be your own personal experience, I think. I think so. Let me think about that a bit more. Oh, stop it. The dog's coughing. Yeah, I'll think about it. I'll let you know. Be a personal thing. You wouldn't take into account their feelings on it, on your boundaries. They're your boundaries, aren't they? I suppose if my friend wants to set boundaries that hard, that's up to her. That's fine. Certainly makes you respect her, because you think, wow, if I put one toenail wrong with you, I'm out the door, aren't I? Yeah, interesting. That's a whole nother topic. Okay, your turn, Georgie.
Yeah, I don't have much. I'm from my experience, and don't get me wrong, I go backwards some days too, like, but I do, like, I eat sugar like some days. I think it is important that if you do go backwards and you do something, it does remind you to do the right thing now. Like, and again, just don't be hard on yourself. Um, you know, just I'll try again tomorrow. you know. Um, I did have no. It keeps doing. One moment. Oh, I had a. Um. Yeah. I keep going because this is what's, because I know that like when I was really bad, my nutrition went down and I went down and everything. So with me, I can only turn on my own personal experiences, balancing your mind, body, and soul, your emotions every day, and have it. And now, like, if you want to go and do something like that you're not supposed, well, not that you're not supposed, not that you're not supposed to do it. I go with the flow, like if I want to go and have a drink of alcohol or whatever, if I think, oh yeah, I do. If I want to go and have a big thing of cheesecake, I do. And I don't really pay for it now where I used to because I'm only having it now and then, and I find don't be hard on yourself. And coming back to what Ray said about, about you said your friend with the jewelry. I think that comes, I don't know, you can tell me if I'm wrong. That comes from when you get your self-worth and you're setting your boundaries because um I'm not saying it's wrong and right, or what, but she probably didn't have a very good relationship with her mum. Yeah, so like I done that not so long ago. I have got rid of all the things of someone that was staying with me. Like anything, like for me to move forward, it wasn't that being nastily about getting rid of it. I think that comes in of your feeling, setting your boundaries and moving forward and I suppose getting on with life, and protecting yourself. I don't know if but that's what I got of it. Um, yeah. And I just think it's really important that you do things that bring you joy, listen to music, reading, gardening, whatever, all the things that you love. I think you at least got to have a whole day of it if you can, but do one thing a day that you really enjoy. And meditation is important. I believe meditation is so important. It is so important for me, and yeah. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving forward. That's what I tell myself. Like I always felt that I was competing and that I was saying, yeah, you don't have to be perfect in everything you do. You don't have to show anything. You just gotta keep moving forward. Yeah, that's think that's all. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Georgie. Um, yeah, sage advice there, I think. I agree with you too about the importance of meditation and when it comes to some of the things that Sanji was talking about being able to sort of disidentify from aspects of our experience that are perhaps a bit troublesome, or that process of introspection and going inside and actually observing what's happening, um, enables you over time to come to certain realizations and makes it a lot easier to let go of different things, whether it's letting go of an old role that you were in, letting go of an aspect of your identity that no longer serves you, uh, letting go of a particular belief that maybe is pretty maladaptive. Um, I agree that meditation can play a really important role there. And I also agree, Georgie, that yeah, as I try and tell myself, It's about progress, not perfection. So if you're generally heading in the right direction, even if it's pretty slowly, just little baby steps. And I think the advice that both you and Rae gave to do one thing a day just for yourself, or if it's something that you've got to do, but you get some choice about, as Rae said, I'm going to walk to the mailbox backwards, and something that just gives you a sense of, no, it might seem like my life is completely out of control, but in this very small way, I can exert a bit more, control over this one particular aspect of my existence or my day or my routine. I think that can be really helpful too. So I'll hand it over to Sanji for some final thoughts.
Thank you. Okay. So what I try to do is I try to cultivate the inner progress, and I try to go more and more deeper to reality as much as possible, further and further. And in the outside, I try to, like, in a conceptual level, I try to help people or do at least one good deed per day. So that in a way that I'm helping somebody as well as, or it could be animal or anybody. Yeah. So uh, uh, in a way, like, it brings the good qualities within us also, no? And I think we need to feel happy, peaceful, and do, like, but in a good way, like what we like to do. Uh, because it's not forever, no? And we are not living forever. And maybe for many years we spent, as the society ways, the pattern ways, no, not to become going in some radical way. And but now we value more things like happiness, peace, no, what's really important, or things like that, no. So we can be, but that also we don't get too caught up, because we will have to change at some time, no, like according to conditions, situations, and all. But we try to make the best of it in a very wholesome way. And what you all say was wonderful, and what you shared today was great. The insights, the experiences, was beautiful and wonderful. So it's always a pleasure to be here, and we'll be putting out the video for anybody else also to watch. And hopefully Anthea is, like Mike said, like having a nice time out there, and she'll be back next week. And we'll all be able to get together like this and have a wonderful discussion. And I think, like, why not talk about boundaries or something, no? Because that word came up again and again and again. Uh, if you're comfortable about that, we can discuss about that also. Uh, because it's a very fine topic, no? Like, how can you place uh, like how to place the boundaries, or where's, yeah. Yeah.
I thought you said palm trees.
No.
Going gardening.
Sometimes my pronunciation. Boundaries. Yeah, and then I try to ask other people and see, but then try to investigate and see whether that, because I don't want to make a fool of myself also, no? And but uh, but we can put and see, and the reactions and how it happens. But I'm not telling it's like always perfect, and nothing is perfect, no? Like, I don't think you can call anything perfect. So there's always something, or the human self or human nature, uh, even that, like, or even if it's a perfect human being as such, they still can it can age, they can have sicknesses, no? They will be hungry, they'll be thirsty. So how can it be perfect, right? There is always something, no? So, but uh, we'll try to be the gemstones or the diamonds that come out of the pressure and through the rubber, and then we'll try to shine. No, like within that they come out of the dirt, and then yet they are like when they are polished and everything, they can be their real value shows up. No, so likewise, and they shine. No, and it's like a precious thing that everybody likes to wear. No, and so likewise, or have it in a safe place, no? So likewise, we can bring our inner core, inner things, and we can identify with that. Yeah, these are my core values. I stand by them, but in a righteous way, no, in a good way. And then within that, this is my journey, or this is my travel. But in that travel, like we cannot say it's mine. No, it's been there forever. Uh, but that also we can talk and discuss and see whether am I going. But in that path also we can have a wrong turn, or we can think, oh, I know so much, no, and then the ego. And it's always good to like have a measurement, just like the meditation and perfect. You all mentioned meditation, like even loving kindness, all these meditations. More we do it, yeah, actually, like it spreads far and wide. Yeah, then actually the self-centeredness actually reduces. So otherwise what happens is, but still more deeper we go, we understand like what was I thinking? What was I doing at that time? It's kind of very ironically, it's like more we learn, the lesser we know. So yeah, it's like then oh my God, what was I thinking back? Oh, like but we can feel the ego sometimes like trying to like balloon itself up, or like it's like shrunk and like and then you have to like puff it up a bit in a good way, uh, not put some toxic gas or something, no, like, but bring it in a way that you can like keep your head straight, no, and say, okay, I'm a good human being, I'm a decent person, no, I don't harm nobody, I don't trouble nobody. I don't steal or I don't kill or no, I don't lie. No, I'm a good human being. And but we know it's just bloated up. Uh, or it's a balloon. No, it can, and you have to just keep it pumping the gas uh, all the time. No, and it's very fragile. But we try to build a very strong inner core within. So anything anybody wants to add up, please. Yeah, please.
There is one, it just keeps coming. What is important that I think too, you listen to your body of what it needs. I don't know. That was just kept coming into I listen to my body of what it needs now, what it like, because some people say, oh, you've got to do this and you got to do that and you got to, so you sort of, well, that's where the meditation comes in, I suppose, or sit, or when I get high rate or whatever, like sit in silence and I go like and listen to me, concentrate on my breath and I listen to what I need. I just had to put that in.
Perfect,
Yeah.
George. Listen to your body, listen to your mind, even
Yeah.
reflect on what we talk, no? Not to like take ages and like what, no? But just to see, reflect a bit and see. It's always fine, no? Okay, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure being with you all, and I wish you all a good rest and a good night, and hope we'll meet all again very soon.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Sanji.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Bye,
Talk to you all
everybody.
soon.
Take care,
Thanks,
everyone.
Sanji.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Happy
everyone.
birthday, Mum.
Oh, yeah, happy
Thanks.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mum.
I'll let her know.
Now she has to watch this whole video.
Yeah, and
Yes.
for bringing a wonderful son like Mike, no?
Oh, no, she had a good day, but I'll pass it on. So thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for the well wishes.
Yeah, see you all.